So you want to start running, but maybe you don't know where to start, or you've tried before and just hated every second of it. I get it. Running can feel intimidating, but trust me, it does not have to be that way. In today's first episode of my Running Diary series, I'm sharing my favorite tips for getting into running without burning out, beating yourself up over your pace, or feeling like you need to be a marathoner from day one. So grab your running shoes and let's make running something you actually want to do. Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to my channel for another vlog. We are getting ready to head to the gym for a running workout. I think I'll probably do between 3 and 4 miles again. That's been my sweet spot lately. I need to start doing longer distances, but this is where we're at right now. It is super rainy here today in Raleigh, so definitely one of those days where I have no motivation to get going, but going to get it done. And then we are going to head over to Dick's Sporting Goods to grab a couple of running things. I need some new running shoes. Right now I've been running in the On Clouds. I think they're called the Cloud Monsters, but I actually have some holes in them, so they've definitely done their job and have a lot of wear and tear on them. So it's time to replace them, and I'm thinking of going with Hoka. So we'll see what we can find once we head over there. But first, let's knock out this run. Alright, workout is done. I ended up doing, the treadmill said 4 miles, but my watch said 3.38, so we're just gonna go somewhere in between that. So I did 3 of those miles at an 8:57 pace per the treadmill, which is really good for me, making some progress, just trying to keep my miles under 9 minutes, just to try to like cut a little bit off of my 5K time. So that was a really good workout, per the usual, extremely sweaty. So gonna go cool down a little bit, drink some water, and try to get the cheeks to kind of die down from being tomato-ish, and then shower and wash this crazy hair. So workout done, now time to cool down. We just made it to Dick's Sporting Goods. Gonna run in and check it all out and see what options they have. We've never been to this Dick's Sporting Goods before, so hopefully it's a good one. I like to get my shoes from here and other things from here just because they usually have a wider selection. You can also obviously go to running shoe stores to look for things, but I like Dick's Sporting Goods just because of the variety of options. So let's run in, check it out, and see what we can find. Go with the asics for this time, see how they go. I've had them before, but these are really comfortable, so we'll see. We are back from picking up the shoes. I ended up going with the asics. I'm really excited to give these a try. I've had the asics before, but I've never had this kind, and they look super comfy. So we'll see. I did end up sizing up to a size 8 because I have run into that issue before, and I don't want to do it again where the shoes are too tight and then you just have all sorts of foot problems. So we're going with the size 8. So I figured this would be a really great opportunity to sit down to talk with you guys about some tips for running. I get a lot of messages from random people saying like, how do you stay motivated for running? How did you get into it? So I figured I could just go over a couple of my top tips to help you guys if you're interested in picking up running this year. So my very first tip would be to start small. So don't make yourself feel like you have to go run like 20 miles right off the bat by any means. A lot of people start running from, there's like Couch to 5K apps, obviously, but a lot of people will start with maybe running 0.25 and then walking, and then running 0.25 and then walking, or whatever is easiest for you just to get going. So just do small increments to get started. And then over time, you can add more distance and more time into your run. So definitely don't push yourself too far too fast, or else you'll end up not liking it, maybe potentially injured, and that's just not what anybody wants to do. My second tip would be to get the right shoes, which is very fitting considering today I did that. So your shoes are really important whenever you're running because it supports your whole body. So you don't want to just run in any type of shoes. You want to make sure that they're supportive, that they fit right, and that they're actual running shoes. So you can go to a running store, like I said earlier, to get fitted. They'll put you on a machine. They'll tell you based on like your arch, if you pronate or not, all the sorts of stuff that is really important whenever you're just getting into running. So that's an option, or you can do what I did and go to Dick's Sporting Goods, pick out ones that fit the best and go with those. But you definitely want to get the right shoes. You don't have to spend $1 million on them, but you definitely want them to be really good and really comfortable. To go with your shoes, I would say your socks are just as important. So I've mentioned it here before on my channel a lot that I've had feet problems and it's definitely not what you want to experience whenever you're running. I've had a lot of issues with blisters with too short of shoes or too tight of shoes, and sometimes even too wide of shoes. So there's a lot of factors, but your socks really matter. So they actually have socks that are blister free. So my favorites are the Thorlos. They're really thick and comfortable, and that's why you need a little bit more room in your shoe because some running socks are actually thicker than others. So the Thorlos are some of my top favorites, and then there's Bombas, which are really comfortable, and they have like an extra lip on the back of your heel if you are prone to blisters on the back of your heel. So those are probably my top 2 favorites. There's a few others obviously out there, and you can find them at running stores or places like Dick's Sporting Goods too, but your socks are going to be just as important as your running shoes. All right, and then the third tip is to don't compare yourself to other runners. A lot of times whenever you're looking on social media, it can be way too easy to compare your running times or paces to someone else's, whether they're have been in running for 20 years or whether they have just gotten started. Maybe they're just naturally more athletic, maybe they're faster, or vice versa. Some people are just slower. I'm definitely an average runner. I'm not speedy by any means. I try really hard not to compare myself to other people because everybody's on a different path and everybody has different experience with running. Everybody's different, and do not let yourself get in your head about that, and do not beat yourself up over everybody else's time. Run your pace and it will be just fine. All right, next up, I would say signing up for races is super motivational. So if you've never done a 5K, 10K, whatever distance you're interested in getting into, sign up for a race because it will help keep you motivated on those days that motivation just is not there. A lot of people ask, how do you stay so motivated with working out? There is really not a lot of motivation most days. Honestly, most days I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, but I do like to keep in mind, I feel 10 times better after my workouts. But signing up for a race is just as much motivation because you have a deadline basically. You have to keep running so that on race day, you can finish. You can get to the finish line without injury, without extra fatigue. So motivation definitely comes in a lot of different forms, but signing up for a race is one of the best ways to get your foot out the door and get you on the run. Next up, I would say to mix in cross training. So I have been trying really hard to do that this year. I say that because usually I don't like to do strength training. I'd much rather just go for a run, but strength training is really important because you build up the muscles around your joints and it just helps overall. It helps you with your speed, it helps you with your endurance, it helps you with your strength, everything. So try to mix in different workouts, whether it's hill climbing with walks, like if you're out for a hike, weight training, any sort of weight training. You can find lots of free strength workouts on YouTube, which are really good, or yoga, again, free on YouTube, or you can go take classes too. So any of those are always great options. And I like mixing in the Peloton cycling classes too. They use different muscles, and it's just a great way to mix things up and keep your endurance growing and your strength growing too. So mix in those strength workouts, and I promise you won't regret it. Also, you want to remember to stretch. Stretch before your run and stretch after your run. This is something that a lot of runners, I hear across the board, nobody likes to do it. It's kind of annoying, but it makes all the difference in preventing injury, for cooling down your muscles after your workout, and just keeping things working. There's a 5-minute stretch that you can do. There's longer than that. Some people spend a lot more time doing it. You can do it for 5 minutes, you can do it for 20 minutes, you can do it for an hour, whatever helps you the most. Keep your flexibility. That is so important. So don't forget to stretch, and make sure to do it before and after. Next up, I would say to fuel right, and that is with your hydration, and that's with your food. So obviously if you're running a 5K, you don't necessarily need all the fuel that a marathoner would need with their longer distance runs, but it is important to fuel your body for your workouts. After so long, you'll start to recognize like what sits well in your digestive system whenever you're running, what doesn't, and just how many calories you need based on your workout. But fueling right goes a really long way, and it really does take a lot of practice to figure out what works best. Some people work better on higher salt intake and take a lot of salt pills or salty snacks before, and some people can't handle that much. But it really just depends on your climate. If you're running somewhere outside that's super humid, you'll need to increase your salt intake and your fluids, versus the winter where it's less humid, colder, and you might not think you need so much, but you still do. So this is something that takes a lot of time, and I feel like even experienced runners still struggle with trying to figure out what fuel they need for their runs. But fueling right goes a really long way, just like everything else, and it's just something that you'll figure out the more that you go. Speed work equals hills. What do I mean by that? I mean that whenever you're doing your workouts each week, make sure to sprinkle in at least 1 or 2 workouts that you're increasing your incline, whether it's outside or on a treadmill. It's actually a trick for you to get in speed work, because whenever you bring your incline down or you're running on a flat road, you are increasing your speed by doing that. So it's just a sneaky way to get some extra, hardcore workouts in there without you necessarily realizing it, versus doing sprints. A lot of people hate to do sprints. I don't really like to do them, but I'd rather do incline workouts. But make sure to remember, speed work equals hills also, not just sprints and fast-paced runs. So just try to mix that in. Try to do it a few times a week if you can, just to help build your endurance and build your speed over time. And then to help you with your workouts, if you're doing a treadmill run, I cannot recommend enough having some sort of playlist made. This goes along with outside runs too. I just tend to run on the treadmill more than I do outside, especially in the winter. And a good playlist goes a really long way for me. I have a bunch of different ones on Spotify. Some of them are for like a half marathon distance. Some of them are for just like certain types of energies you need. Even on the Peloton app, whenever you're doing some of those runs, they have classical playlists, which are some of my favorite. So obviously it's just whatever motivates you, but you could take the time to, sit down for 10 minutes, pick your favorite songs that give you the most energy, and add that to your playlist for your next run. Along with that, I like to listen to audiobooks. Those are always great. They pass the time. Or YouTube. I watch a lot of different YouTubers while I'm running. There's a lot of really fun running channels that you can keep up with, or I like the triathlon channels. Those are always motivating, and anything like that, anything that you can trick your brain to not necessarily be counting down the seconds to the end of your workout will always make the workout so much better. So a playlist, audiobooks, or YouTube videos are great ways to pass the time. All right, last but not least, if you're just getting into running for the first time, you do not have to take it so seriously. Don't forget to have fun. You actually have to like what you're doing. Maybe you'll get into running and realize it's really not your thing, and that's totally fine. Running is not for everybody, and you really can't make yourself love it. So if you don't love it, find another sport. There's plenty more that you can get into, but don't forget to have fun. You're actually supposed to enjoy it. Yes, it's gonna be hard. Yes, there's gonna be days where you don't wanna be doing it, but it is supposed to be fun. There's all sorts of people in the running community. There's all sorts of places you can run to, all sorts of things that are all involved in running, and it is supposed to be fun. I hope that you love it just as much as I do. I've been in it for a really long time, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I'm always thankful that I can do it, and I remind myself on the days that I really don't want to do it to run for those who can't. That is something I always tell myself. I'm thankful that I have the ability to move. I'm especially thankful when I can get outside and, soak in the fresh air, because I really do love it and I enjoy it. The endorphins make all the difference. So make sure to have fun with it and don't take it so seriously. All right, you guys, I think that is all for today's video. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I think I'll go ahead and kick off this running series for my channel with these types of videos, just all sorts of different things about running. We'll do some run with me type vlogs. We'll do some more sit downs with questions or anything like that. And if you guys have any ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. And I'm excited to get this going. I think it'll be a really fun way to mix in running content with our day in the life type lifestyle vlog. So thank y'all for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you did like it, and subscribe if you're new so that you don't miss any of our updates. All right, y'all, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.